Ah, Lisa.
Do you know how many books I had to dig through to get that?
Just to do a rather
rubbish impression of Sylvester McCoy.
about Remembrance of the Daleks Part 2.
Which is what we're talking about.
But we have got the book,
Yes.
which Sylvester reads in Part 2.
Yes.
And I thought it was worth getting out.
Okay.
But, why are we doing this?
Because you wanted to do a random episode of classic Doctor Who.
I've had an idea, which is always a bad idea.
Yes.
There's a random number generator that you can access on the internet. And I thought if we typed in 1 to 26 on it, it would give me a random season of Doctor Who. And if I then typed in the story number and the episode number, see what it came up with. And today it came up with season 26,
25.
Season 25, story 1.
2.
No, story 1.
Story 1, yes, sorry.
Episode 2.
There was
But
2
of course
there.
it's part 2, not episode 2. Because we are going to be very nerdy with this, and we are going to distinguish between episodes and parts, and things that have 2 written as TWO or 2 done as a numeral, because that's the way we roll, isn't it? So
we had that much fun.
we know how to partay.
Yes. And it's possible you might be able to hear Rose purring.
Rose is happy because we are doing Doctor Who in depth, and this will be quite a big video. I think this will be the most in-depth thing we've ever done on video. But the idea is that we sit and watch the DVD. Now, even there, we had a problem.
Yes. What version of the DVD?
Hold up the first one.
So we've got
the original DVD. Get that in, I'll zoom that in a bit, and you can see it's signed by Michael Sheard at the top, isn't it? Just pull it down a bit. There we go. And Sylvester McCoy as well.
Yes.
Now, what does it say on there?
It says, Lisa, love, Sylvester McCoy.
Okay.
And it says, to Lisa, thank you, Michael Sheard.
Now, it says thank you, and I don't know whether it says thank you because we
Bribed
Sheardy with some whiskey or something. It's entirely possible. I honestly can't remember. Where did you...
I can't remember.
You can't remember when you... No. That might have been 2 different
It might have been
signatures.
2 different signings. Because this is one of my earliest Doctor Who DVDs.
Yeah. I mean, Sylvester probably did it at a signing for the DVD, do you expect?
In fact, this is such an early Doctor Who DVD from my point of view. I didn't have a DVD player.
Oh, so you could just gaze long...
No, I watched it on the computer.
Oh, right, okay.
I
So you could actually watch it.
into the CD-ROM on the computer with a cup of tea.
Oh,
God, I was so street.
Street?
Yes.
Are you street?
A cup of tea and Doctor Who.
That's good.
And it was
Well,
brilliant.
we still do that now.
Yes.
And we are street.
Yes, but I was a lot younger then. I shouldn't have been just sort of drinking tea.
That's me being street. That.
Yes. And then that's the other version. That's the version we watched.
That's the new version, which is the special edition. Zoom in on it a bit because it's got a new cover. Is that a Clayton Hickman job?
Possibly.
Yes. And Clayton Hickman has come up with an interesting fact about this
excellent.
story that we didn't know and is not on the DVD production notes.
Sorry.
But shall I reach for my notes now?
Yes.
We took lots and lots of notes.
We do that a lot. If you look in the book, we're gonna need a new book. In fact, Redbubble have got a sale on, so I might go notebook hunting.
Okay.
Yes.
But we think we know these stories backwards, don't we? But the great thing about the DVDs is you get production notes.
You do. I did manage to read them all this time. Normally I can either watch the story or read the notes.
I think Remembrance we've seen so many times that you can actually
sort of
concentrate on the notes because you know what's going on.
Yes.
We are not going to go through what the story is.
No.
Because
if you're watching this, you know.
It's on DVD.
And if you're watching this, you know.
So buy the DVD.
Yes.
We're not doing stories. We're doing... No. This is hardcore, isn't it?
It's a good story. If you've not got Remembrance of the Daleks, and you only like Doctor Who, A, why don't you have Remembrance of the Daleks? And B, buy it.
Yes. But we're going to sort of cross-reference it with all sorts of things like BBC Genome.
Yes.
And stuff like that. So, let's start there, shall we? We're talking Wednesday the 12th of October, 1988.
Yes.
Breakfast time is at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
with
that's later than that. They start at 6 o'clock.
John
now.
Stapleton in London and Jeremy Paxman at the Conservative Party conference in Brighton.
Ooh.
Now, Brighton, they used to have Doctor Who conventions at
Yes.
in the sort of mid-80s.
Probably at the same place well, maybe not at the same place as the.
Was it the Grand Hotel? I'm not
Yes.
sure.
It's a bit expensive.
Is
for
that the
Doctor
one that
Who
got blown
convention.
up with
Yes.
Norman Tebbit? I don't
Not
know.
with Norman Tebbit. Norman Tebbit was in the hotel.
Bill Turnbull's reporting.
Yes. And he would later go on to obviously present breakfast. Or breakfast.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big chunk of the Conservative Party conference with Robin Day and David Dimbleby and people like that.
Later in the day.
Children's BBC starts at 10:25.
Yes.
Andy Crane starts with Play School. How pleasant bobbing along at the bottom of the beautiful briny sea. And then Playbus is coming, apparently.
Yes.
So there's a chance to meet the Y-Bird.
The Y-Birds.
Now,
Yes.
this just all sounds like we're filling this video out with padding.
But we're not.
But we're not, because what is the Y-Bird's Doctor Who connection?
The Y-Bird was voiced and
So it was a bird, it was a puppet
It was a
bird.
puppet bird, and also she did the puppeteering by Arthur Darvill's mum.
All right.
And I'm not even sure. Yeah, he was born at this point, I think.
Let me look it up,
But
because
he might not even be born.
let's see if Arthur Darvill is born.
Yes. Karen
Okay.
Gillan certainly wasn't born.
But do you remember Playbus?
I remember the music. You played it, an episode, and I remember the music, so I must have seen it, though I was far too old to be watching this kind of children's television at this point.
Arthur Darvill was born 1982.
I'll say he was born.
So yes.
So he was 6. Oh.
Yes. But yeah, Arthur Darvill's mum was a puppeteer and voice.
Yes. Artist.
And I didn't know that.
Yes.
So that was a
The only reason I know that is I saw it on, I think it's one of the Channel 4, they do the different era things. And somebody hated the Y-Bird.
What's wrong with the
I don't
Y-Bird?
know. And then somebody went, "What's Arthur Darvill's mum?" And they went, "Oh, okay."
Okay. But Neighbours is on at 1:30,
Yes,
and Kylie Minogue is indeed
still in Neighbours.
in it still at this point.
So I'm just seeing what Rosie's doing. She's
You've got Knots Landing.
yes.
Was that a spin-off from
It's
something?
a spin-off
else?
from Dallas.
From Dallas.
Yes.
I lose track of all those
Yes.
ones. I've got a secret at 2:35
Have you?
on the panel.
Right.
Giles Brandreth and Sandra Dickinson,
Okay.
Mrs.
Peter Davison.
Mrs. Peter Davison,
At this point,
and mother of Georgia.
George Tennant.
Yes.
Yes.
So everything connects up. 15:30. Harold Lloyd in Swing Your Partners,
Okay.
not in Swing Your Pants,
No.
and we'll return to Swing Your Pants shortly.
Yes.
That's the singing corner, isn't it?
Yes.
Things like Beat the Teacher with Bruno Brooks and Heartbeat and stuff like that. Neighbours is on again at 17:35,
Same episode. Yes.
leading into the 6 o'clock news with Nicholas Witchell and Mike Smart. Do you remember him?
No.
No, I don't. Weather with Bernard Davey. Wogan's on at 7. Join Terry live at the television theatre as he talks to people in the news.
Okay, so it hadn't been decided
It's vague.
at that point who was going to be on it.
It depends who turned up.
Yeah, who can we get?
7:35 p.m. Doctor Who: Remembrance of the Daleks Part 2. London, 1963. The Doctor wants to bury the past before it buries him. And that's it.
Okay.
Followed at 8 o'clock by Miss Marple in Nemesis.
Yes.
Produced by,
George Galaccio.
and we
had
spent
to
ages trying to work out how
Yes.
George Galaccio
pronounces
his surname.
Yes. If it's Galaccio
Gal-
or Galaccio
or Galaccio.
or Galaccio. You never know there were this many sort of ways of saying a surname. But
Yes.
there we are.
But bless him,
Yes.
he was producer for The Omega Factor with
Yes.
Louise Jameson,
Yes.
and also for Bergerac as
Yes.
well. And
Yes.
there's this story that Andrew Cartmell says that John Nathan Turner was offered the producership of Bergerac, and he sort of didn't like the idea, and he sort of rather grumpily said, "I'd take Bergerac on if I could set it somewhere else than Jersey and sack John Nettles."
In which case it wouldn't be Bergerac.
Which would not make it Bergerac,
No.
but I think he wasn't that
was
keen
his
on doing
excuse
it. Yeah.
for not doing it. Yes.
But yeah, because it's season 25, Miss Marple is in Nemesis.
Yes.
And then a few weeks later, you get Doctor Who doing Silver Nemesis.
Which is almost a retelling of Remembrance of the Daleks.
And one of the working titles for Remembrance of the Daleks was
Nemesis of
the Daleks. So you see, everything joins up.
It does
doesn't
join
it?
up. Yes.
But yes, let's look at our notes. So we've got, of course, dear old Michael Sheard.
Yes.
Making his
last appearance.
Last and final appearance.
Well, it would be his final appearance.
In Doctor Who, yes. Getting sort of nutted in the belly.
We didn't get nutty. She sort of.
What does Sophie
she
do
knees
to him?
him, doesn't she?
Okay.
Knees him in the belly.
Whatever.
But then he just done that to her as well.
Yeah.
So.
But I always remember he was very pleased in The Invisible Enemy, because one of his favourite memories of Doctor Who was fighting with Leela in Doctor Who's brain.
Yes.
And that was his best moment ever. So I'm sure he enjoyed fighting with Sophie too.
Yes.
We get, this story has got a lot of OB in it.
Yes.
And one of the things I've sort of noted, and indeed the production notes point out later on as well, is cars going past in the background.
Yes.
This is, the days when you couldn't
stop.
You couldn't
Stop
rope
people.
off all the roads. So if you look carefully in the background, there's modern cars and buses and things.
But it's sort of out of focus.
Yeah, it's a long way
see.
away,
Yes.
but
Yes.
Sylvester tries to nick the soldier's pen, which is a nice little detail. I'm wondering if that's the sort of improv sort of thing.
The soldier goes,
give it back.
Yeah.
He doesn't manage to get
I
it.
do that.
He does a really weird signature on the clipboard though,
Yes.
and I do wonder if it's meant to be a question mark.
Yes. Because he leaves a business card, doesn't he?
That's later on.
Yes, when he does the thing to the ball.
But yeah, I mean, we have sort of said about this, and we are sort of going to look at these episodes in isolation. If there's anything really glaringly obvious that doesn't join up, we will point it out.
Yes.
But this is very much this episode, not the whole story.
Yes.
Isn't it? But yeah. So what have we got? Lots of bangs and flashes.
Yes.
And the explosive boys are having a good time. And then you get the scene in the cafe with Joseph Marcel. Now, you were saying about how old is he at this point?
Yes.
He's born in what, 1948, I think?
He's 40.
Let me just check.
47, 48.
Born 14th of August 1948. So this is transmitted 1988, so he's 40. Yes. But this is set in 1963.
Yes.
Which implies he's born in 1923.
Yes.
Okay, if his character is playing the same age as he is.
Or the other way around.
Or the other way around. But he talks about his great-grandfather being sold into slavery. Yes. So let's just sort of work it back and see if it fits.
And I think it just about works.
It's right on the edge of fitting, isn't it? Yes. Because if his character was born in 1923, let's assume his dad was born in about 1900. If he had him when he was 23, so
yes, or possibly slightly earlier, give or take a decade.
Yeah, so his grandfather was born in 1880, 1875. Yes, maybe.
Yeah, possibly earlier than that.
Which means his great grandfather was born 1850 at a pinch. Yeah, so we are right on the edge of.
And slavery had been abolished by the British earlier than that.
Yes.
So, but. Obviously, it was probably still going on in the African countries.
But
a lot of the time it was Africans sort of kidnapping other Africans and selling them into slavery.
Okay.
Because
I don't really know much about the history of it.
There is a story that Queen Victoria received a little African girl as a present from one of the African tribes who had murdered her family. Okay. So effectively, that is slavery, and that's sort of 1840s.
Okay.
So.
But yeah, it's interesting that it's something we should sort of check up on, isn't it? It's an interesting question, but the big thing in this, it's not all the stuff about the tea and changing history and stuff like that. It's his cardigan.
Yes.
And this is not on the DVD production note, but Clayton Hickman, with his eye for detail, pointed this out.
Yes.
That Trev and Simon used to do a thing called Singing Corner.
Yes.
Was it Going Live?
I think it's Going Live, yes.
Where they used to get guests on and sing sort of silly songs.
Yes.
And there is a clip from 1988 which we put up on our Twitter where they've got Sylvester McCoy swinging his... Because they used to do a thing, swing your pants, didn't they?
He swings his shorts because he's got shorts on.
You'd grab your trousers and sort of... Hang on, sort of... do that with your trousers. Now, you were a bit disturbed at Sylvester's shorts, weren't you?
There was a bit too much leg for my life.
Because he's on this sort of rowing machine. Rowing, like you do on a rowing machine.
Yes.
And the camera angle was a bit low, isn't it?
Yes. It's not only that, it's just, there are some people's legs you don't want to see, and Sylvester McCoy is one of them.
But
no disrespect, Sylvester.
But at this point, the cardigans are sort of red thing.
Yes.
I think later on, there's one with French and Saunders.
Yes.
Where they use the same cardigan that Joseph Marcel's wearing.
Yes.
In remembrance of the Daleks in this scene. And because they've done a podcast with Richard Herring in the same way that we said that
Brian
Blessed did one, but they did, and they point it out, and I thought, well, who pointed out that they used the same jumper? And it didn't take me much searching on Twitter to find out it was Clayton. No. So hats off for that. I think.
Bless you, Clayton. You've got an eye for detail.
There's also the board in the cafe for the price list of things.
Of food.
And boards in cafes always fascinate me.
Because somebody's had to write it on there and work out different prices.
Yeah, and you've got and most things are about 2 shillings and something for like sort of fish and chips and whatever. But 3 shillings and 3pence will get you Harry's special fry up. Yeah,
how big is this fry up? Because that's quite a lot.
And why is it special?
Yes. Perhaps it's like a full Monty kind of one, which has got everything on it.
Is it like Harry's special stuff from under the counter?
What, like League of Gentlemen?
Yeah. There's a load of boats hooting in the background on the soundtrack.
Which is a nice piece of sort of just not that anybody would ever really notice, but it's just a little bit of sort of continuity.
Detail, isn't it?
Yes.
And I said it was a bit like Dixon of Dock Green, the episode Sounds where they work out where the crime has taken place based on the sounds of the boats that have been recorded. Yes. So we say it's just about possible for his great grandfather. Then you've got William Thomas.
William Thomas.
Yes. Who is very Welsh.
Yes, he is.
And what did you say? He was like he's like Telfrin Thomas for the 80s and 90s.
For the 80s and 90s and 2000s. Yeah. It's like every time you need a Welsh person, you get William Thomas.
Because he has the sort of distinction of being the first person that's in old Doctor Who to be in new Doctor Who.
Yes.
Because he pops up in
Boomtown.
In Boomtown.
Briefly.
And of course he's in front at the funeral parlour.
He is in front of the funeral. Thomas and Thomas.
Yes. Now there's some interesting notes here about people who are up for parts.
Yes.
So Mark McGann apparently up for Mike. Can you see that at this point?
Kind of.
Maybe. Yeah. Yes. What's that say?
I don't know. It's your writing.
Baseball bat changes hands.
Yes.
Sylvester's got it in one hand in one shot, and then it cuts, and then the baseball bat is in the other hand.
Yes.
So it's a little bit of continuity.
Or not.
Now, I know we said about things just being in this episode, but I had to put down George Seals never looked round the front of the fake Davros.
And then he does. A little bit later, he's sort of looking at the...
Because later on, not in this episode, but later on, I can't remember whether it's episode 3 or 4, it's played that he doesn't know it's the little girl in there. But the fact is that, A, it had to all be installed.
Yes.
And B, she doesn't stay there all the time. No. She's wandering about...
Yeah. Skipping
at the school and the churchyard and all this. So she has to take it off and go out.
Yes.
So why does he not know? It's.
Perhaps she makes him go out the room. I need to be alone.
I'm going to take my hat off.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but John Leeson does a very good sort of Terry Malloy-ish voice.
Yes.
Because Terry's only in part 4, isn't he? Yeah.
Yes.
When Davros is revealed, but But yeah,
in his barbecue.
I don't know quite how well that works if you're not a fan, though, because it's implied that it's Davros, and John Leeson is doing his best Davros voice. and then it's played as a reveal that it's not. Yeah. But if you're new to Doctor Who,
spoilers.
Not sure that works really. Peter Halliday, of course, making his last appearance in the show also. Stratford Johns up for Ratcliffe.
Stratford Johns, Alan Stratford Johns. Yes. He would have been at his best fruitiness for that part.
A very fruity performance, perhaps. Sheedy gets to do some rough stuff.
Yes.
Peter Tilbury as well. Who was he up for? I can't remember now.
He was up for...
Was that the headmaster? Or
yes, the headmaster, yes.
Okay. Red bus in the background.
Yes.
Noisy fans in the cemetery.
Yes. Tut noisy fans.
Noisy Doctor Who fans,
yes, not like fans.
Air-blowing fans. Yes. But yeah, sort of recording disrupted a bit when fans were making noises.
Naughty Doctor Who fans.
Don't know what noises. The camera in the grave is a nice touch. Yes. When the sort of dirt gets chucked in and it lands on things. The teapot.
Yes.
The 60s silver round bulbous
space age teapot.
Spacey teapot, which is a nice detail. Yes. Except you can see all the lighting.
Yes.
As it's reflected in the silver of the teapot.
I think they would have been better off with a sort of ceramic one that didn't reflect back.
Yeah. But again, I'd never noticed that. And Doctor in the House.
Yes.
Do you want to hold it up again?
It's over there. So.
Where is it? Oh yes, Doctor in the House.
Yes.
There it is. So that is actually the same
book. Not the same copy. It's the same version. Yes.
Because Sylvester's doesn't seem to have the illustration on it.
No.
Have they sort of painted over it with paint? I'm not sure.
Possibly.
But yeah, where did you get this from?
Off eBay, I think.
All right.
Yes, I've got
cheapish.
Cheapish. Yeah, I've got the whole set.
You've got all the Doctor books.
All the Doctor books.
But yeah, that's nice that we've got that. What's that? We've got that version. Yes. So yes, nothing in the windows.
No.
Yeah, because you go to the base, the sort of military base, and if you look out the windows, there's just this white void.
Yeah.
It's like the land of fiction is outside.
See, I always assumed that those windows are frosted.
But they're not
like
really,
a bathroom window. So you wouldn't see anything through them. But
And one of the typists in the background does bear a remarkable resemblance to Terry Jones. Yeah, I don't know quite what's going on there. There's the story that Andrew Cartmell says about the no coloured sign as well, that whoever the head of drama was that week, because they chopped and changed, he made him rewind the tape and watch it, and he said she should have torn it up, but then Andrew Cartmell says, well no, that would have been too obvious. Yeah, which is fair enough. Queen and Churchill. So where are they?
The Queen's on that end of the room.
Yeah.
As the camera's looking at it, and Churchill's on that end of the room. So Churchill's on the left, Queen's on the right. Yeah. But it depends which way you're coming in the room, I guess.
Yeah. Ian Ogilvy and Neil Stacey.
Yes, we're up for the part of the group captain.
Because Neil Stacey was duty free.
Duty free,
yes. And of course Fraser Hines turns up in duty free.
He does.
As Fraser Hines.
As Fraser Hines, as himself.
Yes. So what's that? Well, the Daleks have got rainbows inside them, which is nice, because when they do the materialisation on the sort of transmatty bit, they've got the multicoloured sort of bands going up. So they're all sort of rainbow Daleks, but only on the inside.
They're full of rainbows.
When Sophie pulls up the aerial of the sort of the tape player thing, it's been it's been slowed down a bit.
Oh, okay.
It just sort of, I noticed that sort of thing. There's Sylvester's pronunciation of Spiridon or Spiridon, which I don't think quite joins up with John Pertwee.
But it's different. If you've got different vocal cords, you would say things differently.
Metabolis, Metabelis, Gallifrey, Gallifrey.
Yes.
You know.
It's just different people say things different ways. So if you've got a whole different set of vocal cords, you would say something different to the way you said it before.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd never realised that when the Dalek comes into the school laboratory, all Kev McCulloch's sort of drumbeat, sort of cymbally stuff is actually meant to be on the
because it stops when he blows it up. I'd not really thought about that.
But until the production notes pointed it out, I just assumed it was Kef's sort of incidental music, but it's actually meant to be featured music. But no, I've never noticed that, and I've seen the story quite a few times. So the Dalek gets a clear shot at Ace and still doesn't manage to hit her. And that cliffhanger, which does go on far too long.
Yes.
I just wrote "get on with it."
Yes.
And nicely, sort of presenting us with a link back to way back in history. Val McCrimmon is assistant floor manager on it, and she goes back to Hartnell days, I believe. You know, she's done a fair old bit of Doctor Who. But you know, interesting episode, I think.
Oh, we should say as well that Ben Aronovich was 25
when he writted that. So
this is his first television.
Yeah, so young people making Doctor Who.
Yes,
that's the way it goes.
No, they can do it.
I mean, this episode is sort of. I think it's quite successful, and I think 1988 saw Doctor Who sort of starting to come back into public favour again. Because the thing about Sylvester being on sort of going live, swinging his pants, because he was also doing what was it? What's Your Story at this point? No, What's Your Story?
What's Your Story? Yeah.
Where kids had to sort of phone in and suggest how this sort of story on sort of kids BBC went along. So Sylvester was getting a fair bit of publicity, I think, at this point. You know? And I remember feeling at the time that Doctor Who was getting a bit more popular again, because I'd sort of been at university for the previous few seasons, and nobody seemed to sort of, you know, there was only me and sort of one other person that seemed to be into Doctor Who. But I think the show was starting to rebuild its sort of public sort of popularity a little bit at this point. And indeed, what was it, episode 2 actually gets a bigger audience than episode 1, which doesn't always happen with new seasons. It went up to about 5.8 million. And by the end of the season, you've got Greatest Show in the Galaxy hitting sort of 6 and a bit million. So the graph does actually sort of slowly start to go up. You know, so yeah, I remember being quite pleased with it at the time, I think.
And it is a good episode. I know some people aren't so keen.
Yeah, I mean, inevitably some people, you know, like it and some people don't. But I think it sort of thinking in sort of wider terms. I think that it did the programme a bit of good. So so there we go. But yeah, next time we'll sort of pull the handle on the fruit machine again
and give it another go.
And we've no idea, you know, where we're going to go with this. It is going to be random. There's no plan. And we will
do some new Who episodes as well.
But
just to see.
I think, you know, there's enough we can talk about with any sort of random episode. There you go. So we'll say ta-ra and upload.
All right.
See you soon then.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.